Some A-list celebrities put in an appearance sharing their talents as they endorsed the historic nature of Kamala Harris's rise to the pinnacle of Democratic Party politics in the United States. But Wednesday belonged to Tim Walz, the folksy governor from the Midwest.
It's the honor of my life to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
Speaking in front of one of his biggest audiences yet in an almost 20-year political career, he reintroduced himself as a former teacher, football coach, military veteran, former congressman, governor and now VP nominee. His 17-year-old son, Gus, in a raw display of emotion when his father acknowledged his family in the crowd and then rallied Democrats towards their cause.
You know, you might not know it, but I haven't given a lot of big speeches like this. But I have given a lot of pep talks. So let me finish with this, team. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field, and boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready.
Former President Bill Clinton, whose wife Hillary's historic run in 2016 came up short, sought to draw clear distinctions between the Democratic nominee and her Republican opponent Donald Trump.
What does her opponent do with his voice? He mostly talks about himself, right? So the next time you hear him, don't count the lies. Count the ayes. His vendettas, his vengeance, his complaints, his conspiracies. He's like one of those tenors opening up before he walks out on stage, like I did, trying to get his lungs open by singing, me, 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 me. When Kamala Harris is president, every day will begin with you, 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 you.
TV mogul Oprah Winfrey, a surprise addition to Wednesday's speakers list, rallied independent and undecided voters, arguing that values and character mattered in an election, that decency and respect was on the ballot, urging Americans to choose common sense over nonsense.
Let us choose truth, let us choose honor, and let us choose joy, because that's the best of America. But more than anything else, let us choose freedom. Why? Because that's the best of America. We're all Americans, and together, let's all choose Kamala Harris.
Some Republicans also bucking their party to rally support for the Democratic ticket.
Our party is not civil or conservative. It's chaotic and crazy. And the only thing left to do is dump Trump.
And while protests in relation to the war in Gaza have been a constant feature outside the venue, an emotional plea from the parents of 23-year-old Hirsch Goldberg Poland, who's been held since the October 7th attack last year. Biden administration presses the parties to agree a long-awaited and much-delayed ceasefire.
In the Middle East, we know the one thing that can most immediately release pressure and bring calm to the entire region: a deal that brings this diverse group of 109 hostages home and ends the suffering of the innocent civilians in Gaza.
As the week-long build-up in Chicago reaches its climax, Thursday night is all about Kamala Harris.
Her husband, Doug Emhoff, earlier this week described Harris as a joyful warrior who never runs from a fight, a balance she's likely to strike in her acceptance speech later Thursday, capping what can only be described as a dramatic month for the VP, after President Joe Biden decided to exit the race, leaving Harris to bring the party together behind her last-minute candidacy. And while she's done that, that's only half the job. She now has to rally a coalition of Americans that will be key to her getting over that line where Hillary Clinton came up short 8 years ago and become the first female president of these United States. Sherwin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.